What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to my video guide for Gao's Chaos Fight, Wild Child of the Veld, and I hope I pronounced that right. And as always, before we start this video, I would just like to gently remind you guys to subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a like on this video if you do enjoy the content that I make on this channel as well. It does help my channel to grow, and of course it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Without further ado, let's start this video. Now, as always, we'll start this off with the boss's abilities, weaknesses, resistances, and the elements that it can absorb. For this one, it is called the Ancestor. It does not have any weakness, however it does have a ×2 resistance to melee attacks, and it doesn't have any elements that it can absorb. As for its abilities, it has Rake, which is a melee brave attack, Pressure, which is a melee HP attack. Next is Blaze Breath, which basically it will remove any debuffs attached to it, frames included, and increases its brave when its brave is less than its initial brave, and will do a group magic brave attack plus HP attack. Next is Whitetail, which is a group melee brave attack. This also has a low chance of inflicting fog. Next is Spring Shot, which is a magic brave attack, which also inflicts a physical attack down debuff. The plus variant will grant one ally brave, and the plus variant will have a higher turn rate when inflicting a break or attacking a target afflicted with break. Next is Kick Turn, which is a melee brave attack which can also delay the target by 1 turn. This has a plus variant which grants one ally brave, and a plus variant will have a higher turn rate when inflicting break or attacking a target afflicted with break. Next up is Bolster, which raises all its stats and begins recovering brave each turn. This usually happens when there's only one Ancestor left. This is basically like an enrage mechanic, at least from what I can tell. Next is a couple of texts that you will see. The first one is All Worked Up, which raises all its stats, and Even More Worked Up, which further raises all its stats. Now, the boss is immune to one debuff called Fog. Unfortunately, there's really no characters that can afflict this to the boss, which makes it a head scratcher, but nonetheless it is immune to the fog debuff. Okay, so now that we know its abilities, weaknesses, resistances, and elements that it can absorb, let's take a look at some general tips and guide. The first one is to save about 60 to 70% of your abilities for the final wave. Now, this is only a 3-wave fight where you basically fight the boss in increasing number. Basically, on the first wave you fight 1, and the second you fight 2, and then the third wave you fight 3. They don't really have that much HP, so you should be totally fine when using your HP attacks on the first earlier stages. Now, the next one I have for you guys is of course to bring in the boosted characters. We have Gao, Terra, Selphie, and Rinoa for this particular fight. If you don't have any of these characters, other characters that are worth considering are Warrior of Light, Lillicet, Krile, Setzer, Yuffie, Bosch, Kimari, Balthier, Kuja, Vaughn, Ace, King, Irvine, Barret, Emperor, Ultimecia, Noctis, Aranea, or Garland. Now, as for the healers plus brave battery options, we do have quite a lot of options here. We have Charlotta, Ram, Yuna, Eiko, Ignis, Rosa, Lena, Selphie, and Ishtola. And for the summon, of course, you do have an option between Ifrit, Shiva, Ramu, or the Brothers for your summon. Again, I'm just a little bit biased with Leviathan. I don't think it's a very good summon, but you can definitely bring it if you like Leviathan itself. Okay guys, so now let's talk about some general strategies that I actually use in this fight, and things that I noticed that probably will work for you. Let's start this off with the friend support. Obviously, I highly recommend bringing an Aranea support. She does the most damage right now, and I do believe she's probably debatably the strongest character we have right now in global. The other choice is Emperor. However, there is a caveat for Emperor support, and that is to bringing your own Emperor himself. And you do have to remember that the boss can actually remove all its debuffs, so you have to make sure to actually use the traps or his abilities at the right time. So that there is that one caveat for the Emperor's support. However, he still works, as you guys can see in this video. I mean, I didn't bring 2 Emperor in this particular case because I can't really find any Emperor friends right now. Everyone has Aranea, but it can definitely work in your favor. The next one is Delay. Delay is still going to be your best friend. I would say Paralysis can help here as well. However, all of our paralyzing units are actually melee attackers like Cloud and Agrius, so they're not going to be very helpful in this particular fight. So I just put Delay here. Now the next one is to make sure you do have a high amount of Brave when you see the all attack. It will most likely be Blaze Breath, and it will hit you with a Brave plus HP attack, and you don't really want to get broken when they use Blaze Breath, and they use this quite often, so it's probably a good idea just to stay on the safe side. The next one is to bring a poison debuffer. Even if the boss can remove it, it will still lower the amount of incoming damage at the start of their turns. Basically, they will lose that little bit of Brave because of the poison damage. So this will really help you out in case you're taking too much HP damage. It's not overly necessary, however, it still does help. And finally, you do have to bring a healer. I highly suggest you bring a healer. The boss, they just abuse Blaze Breath too much for you not to actually bring a healer. Highly recommend bring a healer because you're gonna take a lot of HP damage. Even if you do have a tank, let's say Bosch, you know, he will still take a lot of hits, so you probably want a little bit of HP regen every now and again, or actually just fully heal your characters. Okay guys, now let's take a look at some possible party compositions. We'll start off with the first one being the boosted team, which consists of Gao, Terra, and Selphie with an Aranea support and Shiva for the summon. Now, Terra can be replaced by Rinoa here. I wouldn't really replace Selphie, even though she's the only one that doesn't have an EX plus at this point in time. You do need that extra bit of healing, and unfortunately Rinoa will only heal herself pretty much, so you do have to have some sort of healer. So that's the only reason why I kept Selphie in this party composition. Basically, Gao is here for counters and damage, Terra for big damage, and again can be replaced with Rinoa for big damage as well. Selphie for heals, and of course the debuff evasion, so you do have a chance to avoid being debuffed by that fog debuff. Next up, I have Sarah, Y'shtola, and Emperor with Aranea support and Shiva for your summon, and this is the video you guys are seeing right now. Like I said earlier, Emperor isn't exactly optimal because the boss, they do remove their debuffs, and if you apply that debuff, those traps aren't actually going to activate. So you have to pick the time where you actually inflict those debuffs as well. Anyway, Sarah is here for, again, the debuffs and Brave Battery with that poison. It's really great. Y'shtola for heals and Brave Battery as well. She can do a bit of delay as well, which is going to help you out. And of course, Emperor is here for the big damage. Now the next team I have for you guys here consists of Aranea, Rosa, and Warrior of Light with Aranea support and Shiva for your summon. This can be with a brother summon as well, because you're going to be doing a lot of damage with this party composition. Basically, you can delay with Aranea and of course big damage as well. Rosa for heals and revive, Warrior of Light for shields and to reduce the damage. Now you can argue that you can swap out Bosch for Warrior of Light in this case, and that is possible. The only reason why I don't really like Bosch here, even though he will be really useful with his HP, you know, absorption, I guess, for the entire team, is because all his attacks are melee based. So Warrior of Light's throw buckler is actually a range based attack, so that's why I put him here over Bosch. However, you can still use Bosch in this case. You just have to remember that his skills aren't going to be very effective. Now the final team I have for you guys here is the Ultimisia Emperor combo with the Y'shtola with another Emperor support and Shiva for your summon. Ultimisia is here basically just to save you some turns. You do have 85 turns to actually beat this fight, which isn't a lot. However, I do feel like it is quite enough, but if you are using a lot more turns than usual, then Ultimisia can definitely save you there. Y'shtola is again for small delays in support, and the double Emperor for the big damage. Okay guys, so we're finally towards the end of this video, and of course I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this fight. Now in all honesty, this fight wasn't that hard at all. There are obviously some scary moments that you can have, especially if there are two bosses that are going to do an all attack, which you know most likely it will be Blaze Breath. Your party can still survive depending on, of course, if you don't get broken. If you do, there's a high chance that you might die. So my biggest takeaway from this fight is just be safe. And other than that, overall the fight is pretty simple. It's 3 waves, it's not a lot, and the bosses themselves don't have a lot of HP as well. So I would highly put this fight in the ranking system on the easy side. Anyway guys, I think I will end the video right here, but please do remember to click like and subscribe once again if you haven't already. It does help my channel to grow, and of course it helps with the YouTube algorithm as well. You can follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming. Leave down in the comments below which team you used to actually beat this fight, and let me know if you had an easy time as well. I highly would guess that everyone was gonna say yes, this was an easier fight, especially if you are using Aranea. Anyway guys, this is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.